So
It's as simple as that.
we said we were going to talk about our expectations for Dr. Bawumia's speech later today. I don't think I got a lot of that from you, but we have to move on to the next topic. We're going to be talking about labor issues today. We're joined on the line now, before we start our in-studio conversation, we're joined on the line by Thomas Musa, the General Secretary of NAT. Good morning, Mr. Musa.
Good morning to yourself, to all your viewers and the panelists. Good morning to all of us.
Good morning. We saw a letter yesterday that was asking, from NAT, that was asking all its regional secretariats to join organized labor in preparation for the planned demonstration on the 13th of February. Is there any new information on this?
So that is correct. It was a decision that is the position of organized labor. When we met last week, we indicated to the government that the letter should be withdrawn. In fact, it was in December that the letter was written, and we gave the 31st day of January that it should be done. The letter, as of now, we have not heard anything. So last week, organized labor met, and when we met, we decided that series of actions should be put in place in connection with the 15% VAT on the residential electricity. So the processes are ongoing, and the only condition that could change the mind of organized labor is when we see the withdrawal letter. But until such a time that the withdrawal letter will come, our processes are ongoing. On Monday, we served the police, indicated to the police of our intention against next week Tuesday. All the 16 regions have been, all workers, both formal and informal, all of them have been informed. We will be in red until next week, then we take it out from there.
Now, we see that you are in red today. We've seen previous pictures and videos of you in red as well. Is this about the 15% VAT on electricity, or are there other issues you are striking about?
Exactly. It's about the 15% VAT. All that we are saying is this. A worker, if you pay the 15% now, it will be terrible for the Ghanaian worker, because all of us, you need a freezer so that when you boil your yam, your banku, your palm nut soup, your lye soup, you should be able to put it in the freezer so that when yourself, your wife, your children, and you all go to work, you will come back around 7 p.m. and you can warm them when you come at 7 p.m. You will not have that time to prepare palm nut soup around 7 p.m. No. And if you observe household these days, because the lady is a corporate worker, the man is also working, they do all their cookings during the weekend and pack everything in the freezer so that when they come, they can warm the food up and eat together with the family. And these things is to save time and other related matters. So to increase VAT by 15%, it defeats the purpose of doing what we call the rural electrification project. This increase has the potential of affecting the poor. Because why? Because the poor need electricity to study. It will affect education and affect all other aspects of our economy. And the poor might not be able to afford. So all that we are saying that the 15% VAT, the letter must be withdrawn. And when the letter is withdrawn, we can meet at the table. Look, during the domestic debt exchange program, we met together with government. Government knows the table. If you have any challenge, bring it to the table and let it discuss. But in social partnership and in social dialogue, you don't take a unilateral decision and ask your partner to buy into it. It is not done anywhere. So all that we are saying is that this letter should be withdrawn, and then they should come to the table. Whatever the concerns are, we can all discuss it. But for now, we stand where we are. The decisions of organized labor still stand. We stand by all our decisions we've taken against, and the final one will be on next week Tuesday, and thereafter we take it out from there.
What have you discussed what you will do as a union if government does not withdraw this 15% VAT on?
We are clear in our minds, and that is what we've indicated. We've already, at least the actions that are unfolding should leave nobody in doubt. The organized labor, we are determined in carrying out our actions. On Monday, you saw the letter going to the police, informing them of our intended action against next week. And aside that one, letters have been written to all the 16 regions. We've also told ourselves that, look, everybody should be in red. We've done that. And the communication is ongoing. And so please, all the decisions we took last week, everything is ongoing. And we are saying that, look, let the withdrawal letter come. When the withdrawal letter comes, all these things will come to an end. But to such a time that the withdrawal letter comes, our decisions are ongoing.
We've had some communications from, informal as they may be, that this 15% VAT on electricity might be withdrawn. Does it mean anything at all to you, or you're waiting to see a formal letter before you accept the communication?
Please, I am not a cabinet minister, and I don't speak for cabinet, and I don't know whether you speak for cabinet and you are speaking on authority that cabinet asks you to tell us what you are saying. Even if cabinet has asked you to tell us what you are saying, then we can look and say that, look, you or TV3 told us that they've been mandated by cabinet to communicate that. And then we can have that conversation. But to such a time that we have an official social media, anybody at all can sit down and start coming out with any news. This one we are fake news. So we will not comment on that one. We don't want to engage in those things. All that we know is that officially we are not aware. Nobody has communicated to us. We have not received any information. And to that extent, it stands to reason that the letter has not been withdrawn. And to the extent that the letter has not been withdrawn, the position of organized labor as of last week still stands.
All right. Thank you so much for talking to us, Mr.
Have a nice
Thomas.
day. God bless you.
Musa, God bless you too. He's the General Secretary of NAT, and yesterday we saw a letter from NAT asking all its regional secretariats to rally behind organized labor and be a part of the demonstration set to happen on the 13th of February. That's next Tuesday, and they are demonstrating because they are expressly asking government to withdraw that 15% VAT on electricity formally, and then they would know that their concerns have been addressed. Now, Doc.
Yes, he asked a question when I'm about to answer.
Is this on labor?
No, he said the question was rhetorical, but to the extent that it brought on facts, let's not allow that to be churned out on a platform like this.
Quickly.
So 2019 inflation was 7.14%. 2020 was 9.8%. And 2021 was 9.98%. So, Chief, it answers your question about whether we've recorded any single negative. So that's what it is. Then the second, excuse me, then the second misleading fact is about our debt to GDP ratio. He said it was over 100%. Again, that isn't true. So what is the truth? It's 75% as we speak. Okay. Now, on the issue of labor, I agree that there are genuine concerns on the labor front. And I know that TEU and other tertiary education senior staffs, for example, are on strike. But I would just want to use this medium to say that the strike should be called off per the directive of the National Labor Commission, and they should get back to the negotiation table on the issues that they have put before government. There are mainly two issues. One has to do with the Tier 2 funds, the fact that they ought to be transferred to the fund managers. It hasn't happened since 2023, and I believe government will surely do that. We've experienced a situation where from 2010 to about 2016, a similar issue happened, but this government came in 2017, were confronted with that, and were able to deal with it. But they still have a concern there in terms of the interest that has to be paid on those funds, whether a simple interest should be applied or it should be a penalty of about 3% per the law. So these are all issues that I believe that at the negotiation table, they can reach an amicable settlement.
Their concern is that, so I listened to Prof. Jampo,
yes,
representing the university, and he said that some of the issues that they have brought to the table were issues that were present 3 years ago.
No, are you talking about TEU and the other education workers union,
yes,
or you're talking about UTAC?
So I'm talking about the education workers union specifically. So you mentioned that some of the issues they are talking about are issues that can be
for the senior
brought
staff,
back.
For the senior
negotiation
staff,
table.
yes, for the Senior Staff Association,
Yes.
the issues are mainly the two that I have just mentioned.
Okay.
So it's
So
about
you're
the
addressing you're addressing just those
exactly.
two.
So if it's UTAG,
Okay.
then we can discuss
But
that
it's
as
not
well.
just those two
Okay.
who are up in arms right now.
Okay.
There's UTAG, there's TEU, there's now NAT, there's
The 7-2 tag, I mean,
yeah.
which I belong
so,
to.
Oh, you're a member of the
exactly.
you're a lecturer.
Yes.
I
So,
see.
So that's why I wanted
So-
us to separate the issues.
So
yes.
so you see, the number of unions demonstrating are more than 4.
Yes.
All right, and the challenges they are all presenting may vary.
Okay.
But because you mentioned coming back to the negotiation table, I just wanted to draw your attention to the fact that some of the issues raised now were raised 3 years ago.
Okay.
All right?
Sure.
And 3 years on, they have not been addressed, which has led to this strike in 2024.
Yeah.
And so asking them to come back to the demonstration, the negotiating table doesn't really sit well right now, considering the opportunities you've had over the last 3 years to renegotiate.
Okay, so that's the ruling of the NLC, right? So once the NLC is the custodian of the labor laws, how they are interpreted, especially when there are agitations, so on and so forth, the expectation would be that the union will listen to the NLC. But that is on the part of the Senior Staff Association of the public universities. And I believe that some solution will be found, ultimately to the interests of the various unions that belong to that particular category. On the issue of UTAG and TUTAG, I know what the issues are.
Okay.
Certainly, it borders on issues of conditions of service, largely on our market premium. And I've always said that I'm deeply concerned about that. I expect that to be reviewed because we have stayed on the same market premium since 2012. But times have drastically changed, even in terms of the requirement to teach, how you have to develop yourself, to go and deliver in the classroom and all of that. So it is an essential service if you want. And if government would want us to continue to give off our best in the classroom, then that certainly is a matter that has to be looked at. But UTAG and TUTAG haven't declared a strike yet. We are doing our work and just hoping that when we get to the negotiation table with these issues, there will be a positive outcome. So it's certainly my hope and prayer that we won't get to that particular point. And I believe government will do everything possible to ensure that we don't get there.
Well, I hope so, because, you know, education is very important for our development.
Yes.
And issues of education, when they come up like this in succession,
Exactly.
it's not a good look.
Certainly.
And I'm hoping, like you've said, I'm glad you admit that it's a
Yes,
problem.
you know, I don't want
and
to
it will be,
do
it should be
say
resolved.
anything that would appear political.
It's all right.
But I
It's all
also
right.
know that government has done a lot
All right.
in these last couple of years, somewhat to enhance conditions. But at the end of the day, we would always demand for more. I mean, given the circumstances that we find ourselves,
All right.
we must get our true due. And market premium, for example, is a very important issue that
All
we
right.
continue to discuss
All right.
at the level of TUTAG and at the level of UTAG.
All right, Gideon, you've
Yes.
heard about these issues.
Yes. So let me just remind him that even if this debt to GDP ratio, even if it has dropped in 2016, our figure is still better than yours. It clearly means that you are clueless. This government is clueless, useless, and incompetent. Now, on the issue of COVID, relying on COVID, I just want to remind him that it is because of the excess borrowing. That is how come when COVID hit this country, the COVID exposed the rot in this government. Why is that is the reason why Ghana is still hiding behind COVID. Because Ivory Coast, is Ghana the only country? Oh, let me learn. But were you not answering the question? The Ivory Coast, let me make my point.
Allow him to learn. That's his time. That's his time.
That's my time. Ivory Coast, Ghana is not the only country that was hit by COVID. Why is Ivory Coast and the other countries doing better? And you are still hiding behind COVID. So you see, clearly, you guys don't know what you're about. And Dr. Bawumia is the worst choice Ghanaians will make in terms of giving him, making him president. Because even as head of economic management team, he has done nothing. Now, let me now touch on your second topic. Look, education is key. We are where we are today because of how we have valued education. I'm glad that he's a lecturer. I'm also a lecturer. So issues of the issues of education workers asking should not even cause government to delay in meeting their demands. And as you said, if 3 years ago they made some demands and up to now it has not been met, you don't expect them to be sitting down and still be comfortable in the name of coming to the negotiation table. I have always maintained that one of the things that any government must prioritize is education. You must make sure that clearly whatever the education workers want, you must give it to them because education is key and has assisted everyone. So look, instead of this government spending money on buying motorbikes, instead of this government, it's not propaganda. Was there people not buying 500 motorbikes? So what are you saying? Were you not there? Instead of this government engaging in rot and hiding money under their bed, wardrobe, and what have you, they should rather spend it on meeting the demands of the educational workers. It is key. Instead of allowing Bank of Ghana to run at a loss because of excess borrowing and spending, over 3 billion Ghana cedi on a head office, that money can be utilized, reducing this gap, this obolobo government. When you are cutting down everything, as for your government, you don't want to cut it down. No matter the calls from people like yourself, your colleagues, experts, saying that, look, per what we see, why don't you cut down your government? So that at least those monies can be used to pay educational workers. You don't want to do that. You are only interested in your pocket. That is why we are where we are today. This is a clarion call. Governments should just meet the demands of the educational workers. It is very important. Because look, I know that when you go to University of Ghana, the compound is, you can see clearly that there's strike. Everything is not working because they are asking for some conditions to be met. Government should cut down on wasteful expenditure. Stop the create, loot and keep. You don't share the money. You create, you loot, then you keep it to yourself. Government should focus on meeting the demands, and I'm sure that will not be here today. Strike is not one of the things that this government, promised. I remember Dr. Baumia, always, nurses are suffering, teachers are suffering, students are suffering. Today, the 170 questions, he should answer them. Today, teachers are suffering, nurses are suffering.
All right, Gideon.
Students are suffering, journalists are suffering.
Right,
truck drivers are suffering, mates are suffering.
All right,
nobody can do anything. So you see,
Gideon.
It is now back to you. It's on your table.
All right,
so
Gideon.
meet the demands, and I'm sure that we'll be good to go.
Let me read some messages coming in. Good morning now. This NDC party person has nothing to serve to the people of Ghana. Even when the Tamale chief asked JM whether he's going to collect all our money to your family and friends, he clearly said that it's clear that the NDC has nothing to say. He's just making noise. And that's from Anas. Now, this... Okay, I already read this one about Dr. Baumia. Hello, now. Perhaps we should all keep quiet and wait for Baumia to finish talking. Then when we come back tomorrow, you and your guests can talk about whether he has something to say to Ghanaians or not. It's rather unfair that we keep saying that he has nothing to say when the man has not even spoken yet. All right. Okay, hello now. We had single-digit inflation from 2018 to 2021. It was 7.81, 7.14, 9.89 and 9.97. Those are the facts.
So it's been corroborated.
All right.
I put it out to you.
Okay.
I said it.
So these are a few of your messages coming in. Thank you for sending them through. I'm really grateful. I see so many. We cannot read all of them, but I've read as many as possible. I've been on the show today with... We're wrapping up. Yes, we're wrapping up. We're saying goodbye. That's our show. That's our time. That's our time. Our time is up. Our time is up. Completely up. All right. So thank you, Gideon Tete. That's the full name, right? Gideon Tete, National Communications Team member of the NDC. I've also been joined this morning by our resident lecturer, Dr. Abdul Ganiyu, management consultant and member of the NPP Communications Team. Tomorrow we shall review what Dr. Bawumia says as he unveils his vision for the country today at 4 p.m. You're watching TV3 New Day. When we come back, we have so much more for you. Stay tuned.
Okay. Thank you.
All right.